Good morning. I was just sitting here wrapping Christmas presents and I thought, hi, welcome to my mind. I'm going to explain to you how I was thinking what I thought, because if I just come out and say what I thought, you're going to be like, what? And I kind of noticed that I don't really think like normal people, because they were talking about things that were confusing, and I was like, oh, I love that. That's like the only thing that makes sense. And it all started, well, my very first realization to how my mind works was that I thought it was kind of different, because there was a music history class, music college, or whatever. And in it, we were reading some article by somebody named, I think his name was Carl Dollhouse, but I don't remember what the first name, Dr. Dollhouse, anyway. And I was reading and I was like, oh, I totally get this. That was what made me decide I wanted to major in music theory. Because I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I think about things. Then after we read it, everybody was getting together and discussing it, because it was in class. It was read it and discuss it in your group. And everyone was like, I couldn't get a word of it. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. I was like, oh, it was good. And they're like, stop brown nosing. And I'm like, I did really like it. And then the teacher says, okay, I'm kind of getting some feedback that he was a little bit confusing. I'm not sure that he was confusing. I think it's the translators. And they didn't do a very good job. And that's when I realized, well, I'm not actually reading words anyway. When I read, I'm kind of reading what they mean. And so, when I read things, I probably should have been an editor. I get totally caught up thinking, that was not proper. It's not supposed to be a honor, it's supposed to be an honor. Things like that. It totally gets me. And then after I'm done, I'm like, now what was that about? I have no idea. But I saw lots of errors. So I decided that I wasn't going to read for the words. I was going to read for what it meant. And that's what I do with a lot of things. And this thing our class was studying yesterday, I was like, I totally love I love to read the way he thinks. And all these people were like, I didn't understand a bit of that. And I was like, okay. So now I'm going to, that was a long preface, over 2 minutes. Oh my goodness. I was listening to the radio as I wrapped presents, and I thought, oh, how appropriate, a Christmas song. The song was She's So High by Tell Backman. Now, you might be asking yourself, how the heck is that a Christmas song? I'm going to explain how it is, in my mind, it's a Christmas song. Because King Herod was, in lots of Christmas, Herod the king and his raging all young children to slay. You know that song. Everybody knows it. That's Coventry Carol, I think. It's a very, very popular Christmas song. No one would deny or say that I'm not. And we just watched this morning, because our family, the thing that we're supposed to be studying this week is Christmas. So I let them watch the movie, The Nativity. And in it, there's a lot about King Herod. So we're thinking a lot about King Herod. Well, thing I had studied about King Herod earlier, when I was doing a lot of historical things, just interested in his history and stuff. One of his wives was Cleopatra of Jerusalem, who was different than the actual Cleopatra, because when I saw that he'd married Cleopatra, I was like, I didn't even think they were alive at the same time, so I rushed to look that up. And that's how She's So High is a Christmas song, because it's like Cleopatra or Joan of Arc. He mentions, and I think it was an interview that I listened to once, or a podcast or something, where he talks about the reason why he thought to put those in a song was because they're historically interesting. So, maybe he was trying to, it's not really Christy, but it's Christmas in my mind, because he says Cleopatra, and whenever that says, bing, Cleopatra, the word Cleopatra fires a neuron in my brain, and it goes, oh, King Herod. And then King Herod, Christmas, Nativity, yay! So it's a Christmas song. So now whenever you hear that song, you can think about Christmas too.